We're back here on Tri-State Sports Talk on AM 730 KWOA. As we have a couple of special guests joining us here in studio, as these two young men will be in action here this week at the Minnesota State Tennis Tournament. Once again playing in the doubles competition, as Andrew Johnson and Carter Lindner joining us here this afternoon. How are we doing?
Good.
Doing good?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I kind of hope so. You guys just qualified for state again. So, well, first, let's kind of break things down. Let's go over this kind of tennis season, as obviously you guys during the season were playing at number 1 and number 2 singles. Carter, here in your senior season, how did the regular season go for you at number 1 singles? Were you pretty happy with how things went?
Yeah. I lost a couple matches. I felt like I was in all of my matches. I didn't get blown out too bad by anyone. I competed pretty well with everyone. And I think also as a team we competed well, had a good record. Wish we could have got a blue medal in sections,
right.
But it was still a pretty good season.
Well, let's kind of talk about what were some of the things that were pretty successful for you. I know obviously with your game, probably starting right off the bat, being able to hit that big serve. And one thing that, I would imagine as a player, you evolve. It's one thing to hit that big serve, but it's also another part of your game to kind of learn how to take advantage of that. Is that how that kind of works?
Yep. Sometimes when people hit big serves, they sit and watch it. I do that a lot too, but I try to get away with that. It'd be hard not
to. I mean, yeah. I'll be honest. If I was able to uncork one, I'd be like, man, that's... Oh, wait, the point's still going, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just try to stay focused and try to get to the net as fast as possible, place it well even after a good serve.
What are some of the things that you worked on then kind of coming into this year to be a better singles player?
I think one of the biggest things is finishing better at the net, having shorter points, and also better approach shots.
And obviously with your height and your wingspan, obviously you can cover... especially at the net, somebody I would have to imagine would have to hit a pretty good lob shot to get it over your arms.
Yep.
Again, I wish I knew what that was like. Just have that arm that would come out of nowhere. So, Mr. Andrew Johnson, number 2 singles this year during the regular season, and Andrew, much like Carter, had a fantastic season. What were some of the things that you thought went well for you in your junior season during singles play?
I was just started out with my serves, struggled a little bit towards the beginning, but ended up improving on that, and my ground strokes were working for me most of the time. And I also tried a lot to come to the net and finish points there, which a coach encouraged me to a lot more, and that would help in doubles too. Right,
and I would imagine too that's also just the continuation of the growth as a player, because obviously with your speed and your ability at the baseline, you have that part already, and then if you can kind of round it out, obviously then it just makes you, I would imagine, better suited to kind of really face any situation or shot somebody would try at you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you're sitting back there too many times, I suppose people are going to try like the drop shots.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see many of those? Are there kids who can pull that shot off around here?
There's a few, yeah, but
that's another, like talking about Carter's ability to hit serves and being big at the net. I don't know how somebody takes a ball and just kind of slightly hits it and can drop it over the net. It just seems pretty incredible. What were some of the things you kind of talked about, things that you improved on throughout the year? Then, just kind of give us how you thought your season went in the singles portion during the regular season.
I think it went pretty well. Some matches were not as close as the other team thought they should have been. But,
right.
And then I just, again, worked on serving and finishing.
Did you feel like you were kind of turning it on as I think both of you guys really did a good job of improving throughout the season, and we could kind of see that in the scores, not just the winning scores, but, like for Carter going up against, Jess Hansen, who's a very good player from Lackwell Pearl Valley, and, kind of watching your guys' score throughout the season, it really seemed like you were playing your best tennis as you're getting toward tournament time.
Yeah, I think so. Just as the season goes on, we still keep getting more comfortable and improving on everything and still getting in the groove of everything, and we end up playing a lot better tennis together.
Right. Carter, you talked a little bit about kind of the team portion, and you guys had a good season as a team, taking on Laverne, gave them a couple of pretty good matches, both in the regular season and in tournament time. What's that feeling like as, I think tennis, when you get the team portion, is kind of interesting because it's not all the matches get done in order. And I always kind of find that very interesting. What's it kind of like to be a part of a team tennis match when you get to tournament time? Can you describe it in any way?
It's really different. You never, if you're playing, I don't know the score of the match. So you never know if the team is waiting for you to win or just waiting for you to be done. And I don't know, it's kind of nerve-wracking. Could this be the deciding factor if we go to state or if we don't? And it's such an uneasy feeling, but you can't let it get to you because you can't mess up with your head.
I would imagine it's so hard because, and then you have the double dilemma like you kind of mentioned where you're worrying about your own stuff, but at the same time you're wondering how your teammates are doing, hoping your teammates are doing well. They're playing right around you, but you can't really obviously watch them because you kind of have your own thing going on. It just seemed like it kind of always an interesting dynamic, that's for sure. Well, let's talk a little bit then about the section tournament. You guys got paired again for the second straight season after qualifying for state last year, finishing second here in the section tournament. Andrew, tell us a little bit about how the first couple rounds went. How did things go early on for you guys?
They went pretty well. After a morning meeting, we found out we got the second seed, and we had to play a lower seed, the 15th, and we just knew we had to go out and play our game and finish it out the way we know we can.
What are some of the things that makes you guys a strong duo?
Well, I think our differences, his height and serve and my speed, and just they kind of fit together and we fit the gaps of each other.
Well, I think it's kind of interesting. Maybe, Carter, you can expound on a little bit. Obviously, when you guys are on serve receive and then, you kind of switch one at the baseline, one up front. I mean, does it kind of change then your guys' plan of attack depending on who's on the baseline and who's at the net? Or do you guys kind of just react?
Yeah, we both try to stay aggressive at the net and at the baseline. I think we both have our strengths that really help out our weaknesses. I'm slow, Andrew's fast, Andrew's short, and I'm tall, so it works out. So.
When you guys are playing together then, and you kind of talked about staying aggressive, I would imagine maybe, Andrew, can you talk a little bit about, I think the kind of interesting thing about doubles is doubles tennis is sometimes a lot about hitting a shot or two to set up a shot that's going to come about 2 or 3, shots later. Can you guys see that when you're playing, kind of feeling out how the point's going and then, make a decision on the and it's not like you guys could say, time out, all right, we're going to discuss this. I mean, you guys have to do this on the fly.
Yeah, sometimes just the way the other team's positioned and how we are and the shot they hit towards us and the way we react to it and hit back at them if it's a low shot that they have to run to, and we sometimes know that they're going to pop it up, and then we both come up to the net and finish from there, and we kind of play it out from there. Right.
I just marvel. I marvel at that ability to kind of do that fast, and it's such a reaction sport, and it kind of makes it so much fun. You guys got to the semifinals and finals then on Tuesday. Carter, talk about the matchup of the Laverne duo, Ziegler and what's his name? Stroh, right? Yeah. So,
yep.
Talk a little bit about that semifinal matchup. You guys winning that one to get to the section title matchup.
Well, going in, we knew that we couldn't have a slow start because they're not a bad team by any means. And they played good tennis. The first set was really close, 7-5. All the points were really close. We came out on top. I think we were a little more consistent. Our serves were both on, so that was helpful. And then the second set, we kind of ran away with it with the momentum from the first set.
What's that feeling like, Andrew, so here you are, section tournament, You're in the semifinals, going up against another good team. You know, especially that first set, back and forth. It sounded like. What's that feeling like, or what are you kind of doing with yourself just to kind of keeping composed and kind of keeping focused? What are some of the things that's going through your brain?
Just try to stay calm and stay focused on the match because there's a lot of other things going on. The crowd trying to interact with you guys, but you just have to kind of push them out and focus on your match. And if you make a mistake, you got a partner to help you bring back up. And
you know, and as an athlete, that's always kind of interesting, and I think it really does kind of vary sport to sport on how you kind of handle that in each sport because there's different scenarios. Again, you can't take timeouts in tennis. You know, you really have to have that ability to, you know, Carter, don't you think you really have to have that ability to kind of just shake off a bad point? Because, you know, if you kind of linger around or keep that little doubt in the back of your head, I mean, tennis is so reactionary. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine that would be a good thing on the court.
It's not. I sometimes think about shots and it's not good. You like stop breathing and you just keep thinking about how you messed up and that you're going to mess up again, and you just got to let it go and just try to play without thinking, I guess. Right.
Well, exactly. It's very, very reactionary. Andrew, talk a little bit then about the section championship match with Vigert and Wonotka, and you know, a good match. You know, a lot of scores, but. What were some of the keys for them to get a win over you guys then in that section title game?
Well, again, the first set was really close, going back and forth the whole set, and things were going good for both teams, and they just came out on top, and I think that's where they got the momentum, and we started going downhill a little bit, but we kept trying and never gave up, but they came out on top.
Yeah, but the key is you guys get a chance to go back to the Reed Sweat Family Tennis Center and in action in the Class A doubles competition. So before we talk a little bit about this year at state, let's kind of just do a little recap. You know, you guys make it to the state tournament. Carter, what was that experience like going to there for the first time and being able to step on that court?
It was pretty amazing feeling. It's cool to like walk in there and see all these great tennis players playing tennis in this big dome. And the atmosphere is so much different from like outside. There's no wind and the conditions are perfect. And it gives you a sense of accomplishment that you're considered to be somewhat equal with all these great tennis players to come play against each other.
How much is that a challenge on a windy day? Like how much do you have to change your game a little bit on a windy day?
A lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it makes sense, but it's something you never really consider. You know, I think, you know, just thinking about it. But
it's weird because some shots that you'd hit on a not windy day are out on a windy day.
Right.
So you have to adjust, like, aiming-wise, and you have to use different serves if you're with the wind or against the wind because different spins do different things with the wind. So
I can't even fathom that. That's what I think is so cool. Andrew, then, how about you? What did it feel like going into the big family tennis center and being on the state court for the first time?
Yeah, it was just amazing, and I didn't really think that it was us from Worthington up there. And just once we stepped on there, of course, the butterflies started. And
right.
But we had to get over that and just play our game.
Do you think that's something that hopefully you'll be able to kind of take this year? You've been there before, you know, obviously, you know, you'll have that familiarity, you know, just to kind of being able to kind of maybe get into your own groove as, you know, maybe a little quicker, you know, probably getting into a routine. Because, I mean, just like any sport, do you have a certain routine that you go through to prepare for a tennis match, Andrew?
Not too much.
Not too much?
No.
Carter, how about you?
Not really.
Not really? Just get up there and start swinging?
Yep.
All right. I can appreciate that. Once again, Andrew Johnson and Carter Lindner will be in action in the Class A doubles competition. As also joining us here, Carter, if you want to pass the mic to him for a second, is their head coach Mike Marquardt, who's joined us here today, and he avoids me routinely because no, I'm just kidding. How you doing, sir?
I'm wonderful. How about you?
I'm doing great. One of the things I wanted to ask you then about these two. Tell us as a coach how that they have improved from last year to this year, both in singles and in doubles. Like, how have they improved as players from last year to this year? What are some things that you've noticed that they've really done a better job of?
I think it's the confidence level that's going to come down to that with serving. I know Andrew mentioned it before in the beginning of the year, kind of struggled with it, but it came along. Carter as well. The most impressive thing is their patience. They have great shots, but when to use those great shots, and in the past they used to rush things and not set themselves up. You heard Andrew mention it before about it's almost a chess match. If you hit this shot, you know they're going to probably hit this shot, and you have to do that. And I think both of them are understanding that better and can place their shots better, because they both know when we get to state, anything that floats or is not well placed is coming back with a lot of pace on it. And then you fall, you're becoming the defensive player. So these two throughout this whole year have really just, if you will, stepped it up to a new level of, we're coming at you, we're not going to sit back, we're not going to get points by you just hitting stuff out, we're going after it. And that's where they really shine in this whole year.
What makes them such a good pairing then?
They both have a good sense of humor. They both can let some things go, but they do rely on each other a lot. And I do think with the difference in the strength and weaknesses, they blend well together.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess I was going to ask you a little bit about, I would imagine that's part of tennis that, especially when you get to a higher and higher level, is like you said, they're learning the understanding of the chess match, because really it is so much about what you do and what you're kind of anticipating your opponent to, really you have to quickly kind of, process probably what they are going to do to give you a chance, because there's so much court to cover that if you just kind of think that they can do any shot, that'd be pretty tough to kind of to defend, I guess.
Right. Normally when they're warming up, they can kind of gauge the competition that's coming back, and they know that at the state level, it's going to be pretty solid. You've got to be on your game, because if you're not, it's going to get exposed right away, because just the pace of the game is so much quicker. I'm really looking forward to the challenge because they're ready for it. They were ready for it, no offense, but 3 years ago we took third. That's a long story. I'll tell you about that later. But what was cool, though, is they got together with so much ability, and then throughout the years learned the strengths, the weaknesses, what to do, the positioning of it, and it's all come together. It's sad that I have a senior and a junior. I'd rather have two juniors, but it is what it is. But I think the experience is going to help us push forward and get a win up at state.
Well, we got you here. Let's talk a little bit about this Trojan team then, and how the boys did this season, because I thought, which was kind of interesting, while watching the matches and kind of maybe just watching the pairings. Like you've always talked about, we talked about how sometimes tennis is like you think you have your best lineup, but then you kind of start experimenting, and we really saw some of the guys kind of go maybe different routes, but I thought the guys had a really good season this year.
We really did. There was a curveball early with some injuries. We lost Cody Honus with hockey with a knee injury, so we had to do a little tweaking there, and then we had some players that were gone for different reasons, and you can only put out the best that you have to work with. Yeah. I know Brian and Ben Doden weren't really looking at being a doubles team, in the start of the year, singles, and maybe with Brian with some different doubles. So I think the pairings, it was nice because anything that I asked, they did. Yeah. I understand that's how it's supposed to work as a coach. If I ask, you do, but they were really just good with the flow, and I would really like to take Laverne on one more time because I think there would be a different outcome. Right. So, and it's hats off to the guys because they play well, and no matter where we put them, they stepped up.
Well, I think it's one thing, a difference between doing what your coach tells you and being receptive to it, because if you take that positive attitude with it, maybe talk about the Dotons. I mean, really, Brian and Ben, they really seem to be they took off, when they kind of started pairing doubles.
Yeah, and I think they did well. I think it was the gamut of tennis going up and down like a roller coaster, and I think unfortunately towards section time we were just getting a little burnt out type thing, and not knowing. I mean, I understand they're brothers, but on the tennis court, positioning wise, like with Carter and Andrew, you have 2 to 3 years of experience with that, knowing where everybody is, and you're looking at maybe 8 matches they play together, so that's kind of difficult to get that, but they did have a great season.
Absolutely. All right, guys, let's get the mics back here to the gentlemen, because I enjoy these two so much. They're so shy. They want to just push that mic off, but All right, well, let's talk a little bit about Carter first. Congratulations on your graduation. Do you have your future plans in store? Do you know what you're going to do? Or
Yep, I'm going to the University of South Dakota in Vermilion, and I'm going to study kinesiology and exercise science.
I knew I liked Carter for a reason. Go Yotes. What are you going to do this summer? Got any big summer plans? Just kind of relax and take it all in?
I'm just working and relaxing, I guess.
Where do you work at?
I'm going to work at the middle school for summer school.
Oh, okay. Very good.
And then through community ed tennis program.
All right. Andrew, how about yourself? What are you going to do this summer?
A lot of working, and I'm in the Y summer soccer program too.
Very cool. Do you know the Minnesota Wild are coming to Worthington at the end of June?
Are they?
Yeah. Road tour. Are you going to stop out?
I will.
Well, let me ask you, as a hockey player, how much hockey do you get to really do in the summer? Like, do you get a chance to do any kind of skating anywhere, or how's that work?
I haven't lately, but a couple years ago I did a hockey program that throughout the spring, and that was up in the cities and all the way up to the cities, actually. We were in Marshall and Laverne and Mankato, but since then I haven't really done anything in the summer. Just too busy with tennis and everything else.
Is hockey your favorite sport? It's okay.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I know it is. I'm kind of putting you on the spot a little bit, but hey, but that's the great thing, because one thing I really enjoy about Worthington, and I think they do a good job of really kind of encouraging their students to try a bunch of different stuff. You know, I mean, nowadays you kind of sometimes get in that situation where you're kind of just doing the one sport, and I really think that ability to kind of, the experiences that you take from tennis will help you not only as a person later in life, but could help you as an athlete in different sports. So I always think that's excellent that kids get out and try a bunch of different stuff. So, guys, anything else you want to add before you go? Before we're done here? No, that didn't shock me. But once again, Andrew Johnson and Carter Lindner going to the state tournament, the Class A doubles state tournament. Again, that is June 5th and 6th, I believe, or 6th and 7th. Or 4th and 5th. 4th and 5th. 4th and 5th at the Reed Sweat Family Tennis Center up in the Twin Cities. Guys, hold on. Coach Marquardt's giving some signals here. 3, 2.
Second, third is for team, fourth, and fifth.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
So the first couple of days are the team portion of the tournament. Well, the guys will be in action the last couple of days of the tournament, so. I wish I could read Marquardt's lips right now. Guys, again, we really appreciate it. Good luck, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
We'll have more on Tri-State Sports Talk after this on AM 730 KWOA.